So what we've just covered, okay, I just want to make sure that, first of all, everybody understands everything on this chart. The only thing that we haven't really covered here is the moving averages, which it's not too big of a deal. On this intraday chart, I use exponential moving averages. I use the 8, that's 8, like
EIGHT?
Right.
Okay.
The 8 period exponential moving average, the 21 period, and the 89 period.
8 and 21?
89. 8, 9. They're all exponential.
Any smoothing?
No, they're just no smoothing. It's just just your basic exponential moving average.
When you use that on a tick chart, you're actually using the last 8 bars?
Correct. Of the tick chart, right. Now, and I also use the 8 and the 21 on all time frames, too. So what I've got on this chart, just to cover, we've got the pivots, which we've covered. We've got the squeeze, which we've covered. We've got the TTM trend, which we've covered. We've got the scalper buys and sells, which are the white pivot paint bars. And then before the break, we were talking about the blue dots and red dots. Does everybody understand the blue dots and red dots?
Just handle that one more time.
Okay. All the blue dots and red dots is that, like I used to have it down here, I'd have the stochastics, the MACD, and the RSI. I took those off the chart, but now if they turn higher, meaning say the stochastic goes back up over 20, the MACD crosses higher, the RSI crosses 30, you get a blue dot. Okay? And they're going to stay like this. Now what happens here, you can see the market's consolidating and pausing. They started rolling back over and you got a red dot, but there was no pivot high. Okay, so the oscillators started rolling over, but you didn't get 3 lower lows in a row, so that's why you didn't get a pivot bar. But then we turned back higher and the oscillators were higher and then we were fine. So what will happen sometimes is when the market consolidates and the oscillators start rolling over, that's why you start to see stuff like that. So the most powerful combinations in this is that you want to take these trades against pivot levels. So it comes up here, comes down against a pivot level, you get the scalper buy, you get the blue dot, that's confirmation. Now, here's how I personally play this, all right? You get something like this and you come down to here. I'm already buying it, okay? I don't mind stepping in front of the pivot on days where the markets are kind of slow and things like that. So I'll get in here. This midpoint here is at 10,737, all right? So where am I bidding? What's my bid?
3 points above the pivot.
Oh, I thought below.
It's actually, I mean, I kind of do. You can do like for the midpoints. You can use the exact midpoint. I've kind of done it. I just do +3 in front of everything to keep it simple. I do have it written down. I think in there that for a while I did that, but now it's just hey, let's just get in front of it. It just makes it's easier to remember and stuff like that.
Why wouldn't you have taken the first scalper buy to the left of that, right there? It's at the pivot.
Well, it's actually right in between.
Okay, no, the second one right there.
Right there?
Right there, yeah.
It's actually, you can see the price action actually didn't get up there. I mean, what you're looking for is stuff like that. I mean, I don't remember exactly what happened this day.
No, I'm just trying to...
No, I know, that's good. No, I gotcha. But like here, I mean, obviously it was filled. Now, there's 2 ways to do this. One, you can wait if you're not sure, okay? So for me personally, what I'll do is I'm sitting there, I'm looking at all the internal indicators, okay? And I'm comfortable that this pivot level is going to hold based on my interpretation of everything we covered yesterday. So I'm just going to go ahead and throw out a limit buy order out there. And this is for the Dow. On a Dow, I'm 9 times out of 10 going to place a 20-point stop, okay? Then what's going to happen is I get into the trade. What I want to see within like 3 to 6 or 7 minutes, I'd like to see this thing get into a scalper buy. Now, just because it doesn't get into a scalper buy doesn't mean I get out. It just gives me an indication of if this trade's working out or not. And then what will happen is once I see it get into a scalper buy, okay, and now here's where it gets interesting, is that I'm going to get out at the half at +10. So we're out half here, so I get out a half at +10. I now raise up my stop from -20 to -10. And then the second half, I'll get out on one of 3 things, okay? The first thing is if we get up to another pivot level that I think is going to be the end of the move, that's 1, okay? Now usually if it's a central pivot like this, I think that's the end of the move and I'll get out. Now if you want to see, if you're for some reason you think that the market may move more, okay? The other thing you can do is wait until you get a scalper sell. Now that's a pivot high, but there's no red dot. Okay, so that's not a scalper sell. A scalper sell, when I say scalper sell and scalper buy, exactly what that is, like here, you get a scalper sell. You get the white pivot bar, and then you get a red dot. That's a scalper sell. Okay? So here you get a pivot, but no red dot, meaning even though the market did the 3 pivots, you never got all the oscillators rolling over. Okay? So that doesn't get you out of the trade if that's what you're using. And then it goes back into a scalper buy. You've got the blue dots. Now you've got red dots here, but there's no white pivot paint bar. So now you've got the oscillators trying to roll over, but the price action isn't confirming. Okay? So really the next scalper sell is right there. So it's for me. I mean, I always would sit there intraday trying to guess. Is the market going to stop here or not? Now you don't really have to. I mean, yeah, there's going to be times like this when it's chop and things like that. But guess what? I don't take pivot trades between 11:30 and 2:30. Where's the chop? 11:30 to 2:30. So that eliminates a lot of the noise right there.
You change the tick chart for 144, so that's different. I mean, for GM.
I always do all these on a 60-minute chart first.
Stop it.
I'm sorry, what was your question? Okay, this is 100. On the Dow, on the YM, I like to look at a 144 tick chart. On the S&Ps, a 233 tick chart.
And the Russell?
I don't do this on the Russell. If you're doing this on the Russell, I would use a faster time frame like 144 or 89. Okay?
So you don't use the squeeze at all?
Oh yeah. So I'm going to show you how these all kind of line up here.
Why, John, would you use the 230?
Next Russell question.
That's okay.
144.
I position trade the Russell.
144 for the Dow and
10 days.
233 is your standard for that, and nothing in between.
Like, why don't I use the 198? No, it's okay.
I meant, first question is why is that? Why not use a 144 on the
Honestly, I have tried it with different ones, and I don't think there's a big difference between a lot of them. I mean, the difference between a 50 tick and a 233 tick, that's pretty substantial. I mean, if this was a 50 tick, you'd have a lot more scalper buys and sells. Okay, so you're going to get a lot more stuff going. I've found for some reason on the S&Ps, the 233 tick to me is just, it's perfect. And it's just from looking at it. I've looked at a 500 tick, I've looked at the 144 tick, but on the S&Ps, to me, the 233 is just, it's more the band. Yes, and now the next question is why don't I look at the 233 on the YM? Because the S&Ps are trading 6 times more volume than the YM, so the 233 is a nice, steady chart. On the YM, actually, you start looking at a 50, an 89, and a 144, you're going to get more action in the YM. I actually don't like the 233 on a YM. I think the 144 is good, and like the 50 tick is good on the YM.
Same with Russell, is that?
Yeah, for the Russell, the 50 and the 89 and the 144, and really you don't have to watch all 3, you just pick one. I mean, the 89s are good, and that's just an 89. It's just Fibonacci, the levels, different things like that. All right, so as you can see on here, the other thing that we've got on here is the squeeze. Okay, so how am I doing trades here? Here's a good example, right here. Okay, we come up to this level here. We're rallying up to the pivot, and I'm thinking originally, I'm looking at going, okay, we're rallying up to the central pivot. It's a quiet day. I'm going to short. That's my initial thought on this play, right? I mean, why not? We're going up to the central pivot. As I'm thinking that, as we get up there, I'm looking like, oh, there's some red dots forming down here. Okay, let's wait and see what's going to happen here. The squeeze fires off long, all right? So the squeeze fires off long here. So when the squeeze fires off, then I put in a buy order to buy the daily pivot plus 3. So it's 756.67. I round that up to 757. So my limit order is going to be 760. Yep, 760. So I get filled here, put in my 20-point stop. Now I got a couple of things going here. First, I got a squeeze going on. So there's not much to do with that. Regardless of what's going on, I'm still going to get out half my trade at plus 10. Okay, the first half of my trade is mechanical. It's the no-brainer. I don't think about it. So we get up here to 10,770. I'm already out at plus 10. So now what do I do with the second half? Well, gosh, we've got a squeeze going on. We've got a midpoint coming up, and we've got a scalper sell that I'm waiting for. So in this particular case, what I'm going to do first is just wait for the squeeze to run out. Okay, so when the squeeze runs out, we're right at R1 here, and it's like, well. The market's strong, everything's going well, and this would be a perfectly good place to take a profit. And it's something like this where it's the advantage of kind of Hubert's system here is you could actually play around with it a little bit and say, okay, I'm going to take a quarter off and just wait for the rest. Okay. Personally, what I'll do on something like this is when the squeeze momentum here is drying up and we're potentially forming a scalper sell, I'll just kind of wait until there's a scalper sell to confirm it. Okay. So we've got the momentum going, we got the red dot, and it's one of those things where it's like, okay, just waiting for the bar, waiting for the bar. It doesn't happen. We actually have another spurt higher, and then we get the scalper sell and get out. Okay, and that's an example of just kind of using all the stuff we've talked about so far on a trade. Now, I guess the things I want to emphasize are, 1, the limit entry. There was no chasing. 2, the 20-point stop. Gave it enough room to work. 3, the mechanical exit on the first half of the trade. Didn't have to think about it. And 4th, even though the exit on the last half was discretionary, it had nothing to do with my gut. Okay, it had nothing to do with how I felt about the trade. It was a specific set of 3 different criteria. I could either take it off at the next pivot level, or I could take it off when the squeeze ran out, or I could take it off when it went into a scalper sell, or the 4th one is if we got 1,000 tick, I could sell it off into that. Okay? And the point of that is it doesn't really matter which one you choose. Okay? If you chose to get out of the rest right here, that's fine. You had a nice profitable trade. If you chose to get out when the squeeze ran out of momentum, that's nice. You had a profitable trade. If you chose to get out at this pivot, you had a profitable trade. The point is, with the main thing, especially with the scalper sell, is that you're not going to let this trade come all the way back to you. If we would have gotten a scalper sell right here, we wouldn't have because the squeeze momentum. Realistically, what would have happened here is that we could have gotten a scalper sell right here very easily. Well, that's easy. The squeeze is running out and the scalper sell. So on how these work together is that if the squeeze momentum is still going strong, there's really no reason to get out of the trade. Okay? Does that make sense? I mean, it's kind of like...
That you were initially looking for the shorting of it, and that, right, you were initially looking to go short.
Absolutely.
And that's kind of weighing over you like a dark cloud.
Yeah. Hey, Hubert, do you mind tossing me that Dasani to your left?
I don't mind at all.
Thanks. Thank you. Yeah, and this is a good example of why, this is why I kind of like all these tied together, because they really helped me throughout the trading day. Because my first bias here was to short, and in fact, if you would have gone short here and then saw a long squeeze developing and fire off, that's easy. You just get out, okay? You don't get out because maybe you're wrong. You get out because you are wrong. There is a squeeze that's firing off. And I think that the thing I want to emphasize is that there's no guessing. It's not like, oh, I feel bad about the trade, or oh, I don't want to lose money on this trade. It's a specific thing, and it's all part of my trading plan.
You said there were 4 possibilities of exits. 1,000 ticks, squeeze runs out, pivot point. What was the 4th one?
Okay. It was the 1,000 ticks is 1. What were the 3 that you said?
Squeeze runs out, pivot point.
And then scalper sell.
Scalper sell.
John, why did you enter with a limit order? I mean, it just seemed to me, from what I'm seeing here, you could have gotten in with a market order.
No, it's just a style.
But it's a fair question. You can, if you see the squeeze going off here, because it has happened. If there's times, especially if the market just takes off, getting in at the market here is not a problem at all. The thing that you want to make sure, though, and the reason I don't use a lot of market orders is it does keep me disciplined. A lot of times you'll say, let's say there's not a squeeze here and the market's getting away from you and you miss this pivot order and you just decide to jump in at the market. Okay. Well, now you've got you're getting in here and you've got a 20-point stop, and now if you get stopped out, it's suddenly like a 30-point stop or something. It just kind of throws off the whole game plan. But in something like this, when a squeeze comes into play, doing a market order is fine. But let's just pull back here and say, let's say the squeeze fired off right here. I would put in a limit order and wait for it to pull back to the pivot. Because generally I found that you will get some kind of a pullback in that situation.
What internals are you looking at the same time?
Pretty much the ones we went over yesterday, the tick, the trend, that whole radar screen that we looked at. What we'll do tomorrow is we'll actually have this chart up live and the radar screen up live. And then you can see kind of how they all work together.
John, when you're in a squeeze, sometimes you can notice, especially on the first one there, that it'll toggle back and forth between dark and green.
What do you mean?
on the lines in the front, not that first, the first squeeze. It's not ramping up as quite as much
This
as
one?
the second one. And I notice sometimes when it's in the squeeze, it'll go dark, like the momentum. You're losing
Like right there?
momentum. Yeah.
Okay.
Is there a parameter that you use to, like, is there two
in a row.
Two?
Yeah. So like here, I mean, this lost momentum for me right there. This one lost momentum for me right there, because you just get two darker bars in a row.
So what do you do?
Well, that's an exit signal. If you get two, let's say that if you get two darker bars in a row, that's a potential exit signal for you. Right. And a lot of times it's, I mean, what I do, and this is why I kind of do these slides at this time, because now you guys have seen the squeeze. If you wanted to, this play, you could just have a squeeze chart and nothing else. Take the long here and sell it there. It's a good trade. So, and this way, it's a way to, like, it's giving you opportunities to try to maximize a trade. The thing I like about the scalper sell the best is that any time the momentum's going to run out, you're going to get this anyway. So this gives you an opportunity. The squeeze gives you an opportunity to stay in it longer. The scalper sell gives you an opportunity to stay in it longer. The pivots are great levels to sell against, but these will give you an indication if the market's going to actually blow through those levels or just stop at those levels.
And when did you exit that trade, actually?
On this one, actually, and literally, this is my mindset in going through this. It's kind of like, okay, we're running out of momentum here. We're going to get a scalper sell, and I was actually ready to sell it. Okay.
I was under the impression that you got out really when you saw your first red bar up on top at the daily R2.
This is where I got out.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. So I mean, that's what my process was here. I really thought I was going to exit here, okay, and I was waiting for this to paint, and when it didn't, because I mean we're already losing momentum on the squeeze.
Yeah, but you still got blue, a lot of blue.
Right.
Right up against R1 at that first.
Right. Now, and the little secret here to this is like the TTM trend. It's not going to change until you get a scalper sell. They're not locked in together, but
Right.
You get a market price
Yeah, on something like that on the second half, boom, I'll just get out at the market.
when you see the white one.
Yes. Now, the lazy way to play this trade, which is what I'll do, like say if it's 11 o'clock and I'm going to lunch, the same trade would be like this. I enter here, 20-point stop, out plus 10 here, and then either out the rest here or here. I mean, sometimes, a lot of times, I'm looking for a movement to the actual pivot, and then you just leave, and then it doesn't matter. Okay, that's the way you can do it, like in a ninja trader, and you're just doing pure pivot plays. But what's nice is if you're actually watching it and you can use all this data together, you can kind of maximize and squeeze that extra, the extra profit potential out of some of those trades.
10 points profit target for the pivot as well as for the squeeze. All your trades use 10 points?
Yeah, for intraday trades. It's just take off half at plus 10. Suddenly now, if you get stopped out on the second half, it's a scratch trade.
Right.
Great. I'll take those all day long.
How do you use just moving averages?
The question is, how do I use the moving averages on this chart? I just use them as a visual. I don't use them as anything to get in or out of the trade. It's just a visual representation. I do know that when I see like these crossing over, that maybe the market's going to move lower or something like that. But really, with these charts, I don't use them. It's because I use them on all my other charts, 5-minute, 60-minute daily, that I just like to see what they're doing here. But it's really about the moving averages like that are really about the path of least resistance. In general, if you didn't have any of this other stuff on here and you were playing pivots, if the moving averages are crossing higher like this, then you're just going to buy pullbacks to the pivots until they cross over like that. So it's really just a kind of a visual for me. There is a specific play that I do with moving averages on the daily charts that we'll talk about later. Jerry?
Yeah, coming up onto R1, I mean, the squeeze is running out of fuel. You got a red dot printed there. You're not really paying much weight to the red dot.
No, yeah. I mean, I was like, my finger was on the trigger here. I mean, I couldn't believe. I mean, it's like most of the time it all comes together. I mean, you start losing momentum, you come up to a pivot, you start rolling over. I mean, I fully expected that was going to be an exit signal.
I would have scaled that at least.
Yeah, and you can, and that's the point. That is a legitimate exit point right there too.
Sorry, I missed the piece about entry. 3 points away from the pivot. Can you give me that quickly again?
Oh yeah, absolutely. anytime, okay, here's all the pivot levels here. So my entries against the pivots are all going to be, if I'm going, I'm either going to be buying a pullback here, buying a pullback here, if I'm going long.
Right.
So whatever the number is, I'm just adding 3 points to it. So
3 points above the pivot.
yeah, what I'm trying to do is get in front of everybody else. So people who are sitting here bidding at 10.756, I want to get in a little bit in front of. I want to get cut to the front of the line.
On a pullback.
Right.
So it's trading above it's trading around 760 or above.
Right.
When you put in that limit order.
Right. So now here, like if I say I had planned to short a rally to this level, then we're at 10.820, so I'd put in a sell limit order at 10.817. So just a little bit in front. But the important thing here, and this is the biggest question I always get on pivots, is, gosh, how do you know, do you fade it or whatever? By using it with all this other stuff, it actually makes it a little bit easier. So not only do you have all these other things, but then you're going to have, the tick and the trend, is the trend trending higher, and that's kind of how we'll kind of tie it in more tomorrow with all of that. But you can see all these little pieces of the puzzle just kind of come together, and it's just like, aha. All right, any questions on this chart? I'm going to look at. I think that's actually, is that the same one? No, it's not the same one. But kind of the same thing here again. The markets come down. You get a squeeze setting up. You can buy the pullback, get out at plus 10. And in this case, it's actually kind of a similar play, although it's a different day. And it's the same thing. Well, do you get out at the pivot? Well, there's not really a reason to, because there's still momentum on here. Now you lose a little bit of momentum here as it consolidates. Do you get out? Well, you can just wait for a scalper sell, and then finally you get the scalper sell. Now, all this other chop here, this is during the doldrums, so I'm not even playing around with that. Okay, it's just during the doldrums you get a lot of chop, and I just don't really do it. I actually want to go and look at today's chart too. All right, so here you've got a squeeze developing, fires off short. Let's see, where's this? 10:30, 5 long. See, actually, I didn't mark the play on here, so I wanted to see. But you can see here, I mean, the biggest question I'll always get is, when you get into a pivot trade, do you get out at this level or do you short it? Do you get out and then reverse and go short here? Like here, there's no reason to do anything until you get the reversal indicator. So it just keeps you in the trade until then. Now, if you're going to get some other ones, like like right here, if you think it's going to go higher and you buy the pullback, and then it starts coming down again. Okay, that's if you're going long here, and buy the pullback, you get stopped out. But why would I not go long there? Any ideas?
You don't have.
It's past 11:30. Okay, I found that most of the time that these positions kind of get stopped out or shaked out is 11:30 to 2:30. So I just don't even initiate new positions.
But it doesn't look like you have the momentum there either to do it.
Yeah, I mean, there's not a... Now, a squeeze does fire off during the doldrums, but, I mean, I'm not taking those. Now, if there's a squeeze on a 5-minute chart and I'm around, I will pay attention to that. But this is a 144-tick chart. These are not going to be very big squeezes. Okay? So I'm going to miss all this move down on this chart because this is 11:30 to 2:30. Now, at 2:30, we come back and it's like, okay, we got a long squeeze firing off. We're at a pivot. Buy the pullback to the pivot level, 20-point stop, out half at plus 10. That's great. And here we get a pivot bar, but why is that not an exit signal? No red dot. Doesn't confirm it. Okay? So that sometimes you'll see that where you get the bar that could be a sell, but then you get another bar that's a buy, and that's fine. You can stick with it. Here you get another potential exit signal, but no dot. Pops up. There you get the red dot. So if you're doing it just on a pure scalper sell basis, and that's how you play it. But there's nothing wrong with taking the rest of the profits off at the pivot, which is what a lot of times what I'll do when the market's just, you're not really sure what it's doing and things like that. Okay, make sense?
On the previous chart,
Yep.
217, if you took the first squeeze at...
That one?
Yeah. Is it 10, 20, something like that? Long?
There?
No, not previous. Go back.
Before.
That one?
About 10, 20, I think.
10:20 a.m.
There? It's got to be one of these.
No, first one right to the left of the chart.
That one?
Previous time.
This is
Previous day, then.
To the left.
Right to the left of the
To the
chart.
left.
Left.
There?
Right. First one there. Yeah.
Okay.
So you would go if you went in along there.
Okay.
That first signal, and then you get if you've got a 20-pound stop there,
Right?
you get a signal show. The next one is like a.
Oh, I see what you mean. It's
What would you do?
It's hard for me to answer the question because I don't see where the pivots are for that day. Right? But I mean, I see what you mean. I mean, if you do get into a trade though, let's just say that, okay, let's say that this fires off long and it starts going down and then it gets a short squeeze. That's a legitimate reason to get out of a trade. It's not because you feel bad or that you don't think it's going to work. It's because you have a squeeze in the opposite direction of what you're doing. What I found is that with the 20-point stop, you're usually not going to get shaken out on some kind of a pullback like that. And it'll give you a heads up if you get like a short squeeze that's firing off in the opposite direction. It'll give you time to get out.
So I mean, it wouldn't hit your 20-pound stop, but
Right.
out anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
I found on a lot of these too, when you're wrong, you usually get the first half. You usually get the plus 10 on the first half. And what happens is then it becomes a scratch trade. So what happens is then you get positioned for the times that you do get a decent move, and it gives you some flexibility in terms of getting out.
You don't trade in the doldrums. You find any other times are generally reversal times?
That's a good question. Yeah, 10 o'clock in the morning is one of my favorite. If funds are going to be buying that day, they start around 10. Because what happens is they're waiting for the opening market to settle down and get some liquidity. Also what happens is a lot of times in funds, literally like in the hedge funds that do the quantitative trading and things like that, and quantum analysis and all that stuff, you've got these traders, like this many traders sitting in a room waiting for a ticket order to come out. And it'll say, buy 80,000 shares of Amgen. So they have 1 minute to do that. And then the next one will say, buy 150,000 shares of eBay. And they'll just have a few minutes to do that. That starts at 10 o'clock. On the reverse side, the other time I like is around 2:45 to 3, because then what happens is redemptions from mutual funds come in. All right, we got another $300 million, so we're going to have to buy some stuff. Or we need to redeem $300 million, so we need to sell some stuff. And so those times I'll start looking for some stuff too. And then the other one I always like is 3:30. I mean, 3:30, generally you get a pretty good reversal off that. Okay, let's look at some... all right, so on this day... Okay, you can see that the market opens here, and it's pretty choppy. I mean, I like to always fade. The market opens here. I'm not doing anything here because when the market opens, I'm always looking to fade the first move to the central daily pivot. So we come down to the central daily pivot, place my 20-point stop. I'm out at plus 10 on the first half, and I'm trying to wonder now, gosh, should I get out at the midpoint? Should I wait and see if it goes to R1? Oh, we got a scalper sell. I'm getting out. Okay? So on this one, I could have gotten out either here at the midpoint or as soon as we got a scalper sell, get out. Okay? So next trade, it's choppy market. I'm trying to decide, gosh, now should I buy this next move to the pivot? Do I buy the next move to the pivot?
Just wait.
Squeezes the other way.
Short squeeze is far enough. So now what will happen here is generally it's like, okay, we come down here, we come down through the pivot, first bar, the squeeze fires off, place my order to short a rally to the pivot. We rally up to the pivot. So where's my order? You round this up to 10,658. So where's my limit order?
55? No, 55.
You got the right idea, but it's 55. It would be the 8 minus 3. And then, okay, so I'm going to get out of first half at plus 10. And then the second half, I could cover here. I could cover here. Or I could wait till we get a scalper buy. So we'll get some pivots here, but are those exit signals? No, because there's not a blue dot. So you get the blue dot, and you're good to go.
How do you work this when you're playing gaps?
That's a good question. I mean, honestly, the gap play is totally different. So if I'm doing the gap play in the S&Ps by itself, I'm doing these plays with the Dow, regardless of what the gap's doing. Well, I'll correct that. If I don't know if on this particular day we gapped up or down, but if this was a gap up, let's say we gapped up right here, I'm not going to buy the first pullback to that midpoint because the path of least resistance I know is going to be lower towards the gap. Does that make sense?
No, you repeat that again?
All right. Let's say the market's open right here, okay? And the gap fill is right here. If we come down to this level, am I going to buy the midpoint? Because there's an open gap below. So what will happen is if there's a gap play, my bias on those pivot plays is going to be in the direction of the gap. And that is actually a common play to do. So it's, does that make sense? Okay. And that's one way to use the gap play in conjunction with pivot play. So if you've got an overhead, if you gap down and have an overhead gap, and you've got the gap play going, in one contract, then you can start buying pullbacks in the pivots all the way back up to the gap using all these tools. And actually, those are my favorite days. I mean, you have an overhead gap, at least it gives the market something to shoot for. Now, the pivot plays doesn't mean I'm going to hold it all the way back up to the gap. If I get, plus 10 and then a scalp or sell, I'm out, even if the gap hasn't filled, because this is a separate play, it's a pivot play, and a filling of a gap is not part of the exit strategy.
So it's two separate plays.
Exactly. So then we come along here. Now we get the scalper buy here. We finally get a scalper buy against a pivot level, legitimate entry. Now in this case, it's already up. It's already up to this level. So this is, you can just kind of get in here at the scalper buy. It's against an R1. That's it's a great trade to get into. At plus 10, you get out. Here you have a pivot, but not a scalper sell. Generally, coming back up to the pivot like this, generally I'm just going to get out anyway. But if you want to wait, you get a scalper sell here at 10,653. But it just kind of keeps you in the trade as long as the market is willing to keep moving in that direction. Okay? And then right here we get a scalper sell against the pivot. Pretty much right before the doldrums. You can take it, get out at plus 3, and then wait for a scalper buy. And then did we get a scalper buy there? No, we didn't get a scalper buy there. It was kind of interesting too. What will happen a lot of times is you'll get into a trade against a pivot level, and as you're in the trade, you'll start seeing a squeeze form. That's like gold. Because what will happen then is the market's just kind of resting, and then when it fires off, you're actually already in it. And then you just kind of get a free ride. And that actually does happen, more often than you'd think.
Does it happen in the direction that you're in now?
What'll happen, you don't know till it fires off. What was that? No. Not for me. You said okay.
Well, you just said it so casually, was it almost... Say it again. It was more likely to be in your direction.
No. I just say this, I'm not, when this stuff happens, it's great. It's more, if the market is if it's coming down, if you've already taken off the first half, the market's already moving in that direction, and then a squeeze starts developing, more often than not, it will continue. It doesn't mean it will. Now, if you get into a trade and it's already going against you, and now a squeeze is developing and it fires, that's usually going to be against you. Usually it's when you've already gotten the first 10 off.
I'll ask you, do you ever scale in?
I don't. Not on pivot plays. To me, it makes it easier to manage. The entry points to me are kind of like a dime a dozen. it's really easy to get into a trade. I really am more of an exit-based trader. So I'm just going to get into the trade and then just start focusing on the exits.
Because is it down in the middle? I can't see if there's a red dot down the next white. Yeah. Is there a sell signal in there or no?
A buy signal, you mean, a reversal?
Sell signal again. Aren't there two sell signals?
Oh yeah. You could, like this. You're coming down. You get sell signals, sell signals.
I'm out half, and now I'm down more, and I don't have another sell signal again.
Yeah. You can, if you're still short here. Now, first when you get the first white pivot paint bar, that's a heads up that this may reverse.
Yeah, but if I automatically got out before that first thing, I'm going to scalp because I get out.
I see what you mean. So then you just take this new sell signal?
To the next white line, the daily S1.
You could. Now, the reason I wouldn't is because we're in the doldrums, 11:30 to 2:30 Eastern. But you could.
But okay, then I have another sell signal, and it confirms that I'm made a bad move. Is that another sell signal that I can re-enter or scale in?
Oh yeah. So
I'm short here.
Okay.
I go down. I get out here for some stupid reason because I take profits. No matter what I do, I always take profits out.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden that comes up again.
Okay.
Or it comes in again right there.
All right.
Can I re-short there? and add 2. I'm going to scale in half my position.
You can. Yeah, I mean,
sure.
yeah, no, you have the right idea. I just, you can throw it.
I won't touch the table.
You can, yeah, you can. I have just found that during the doldrums, you get a lot of signals like that that are pretty tight and aren't really as reliable. But it doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that they won't be. If you're sitting there all day in front of the computer and doing that, yeah, absolutely.
That's also your pullback to the 80 and 80 too.
Yep.
Well, I trade the 8 EMA. That's my Bible on 8 EMA, but I don't use it with the 21.
Yeah, but you're not going to find that that's a scalp or sell until 3 bars later, so you're going to be down halfway into your next pivot.
Well, where it's going to be, like right here, you're going to be right here.
Right.
So you're still good to go. So I mean, I've got like tons of more charts. I just want to make. If you guys understand it, I'm not going to do this for an hour. I can, but I want to do is you want to go over a couple more. It's pretty. I mean, it's a nice because. Okay, got it. Okay, what I want to do. We've got like 12 minutes left on this tape, and I just want to cover tick fades because I can cover this in 12 minutes. This is a very simple play, but very, very effective. And I've talked about a lot during this seminar about using 1,000 ticks as an entry for a new trade or an exit in a trade that you're in. This is how it works. It's a very easy play, and what I'm looking for is on the charts, I'm waiting for 1,000 ticks, either plus 1,000 ticks or minus 1,000 ticks to initiate a new trade. Okay, and the reason I'm going to know that this is going to happen is because I've got the audio alert on. Okay, I can't miss it. Literally, I mean, it's such a high probability trade. The way that it sets up, if I'm on the phone or in the kitchen or outside or in the bathroom, I hear it's time to pull up the drawers and get to work. So what we'll do here, yeah, it's the advantages of not being in a big office is if you're running out of the bathroom with your pants around your ankles, it's not too big of a deal. It freaks Priyanka out a little bit, but But I always just refer to the HR department, and everything seems to be fine. That's your answer. So this is very, very. The thing I like about this trade is it's very, very simple. When you see a plus 1,000 tick, you're going to be looking at shorting the market. When you see a minus 1,000 tick, you're going to be looking at buying the market, right? And there's a few parameters that I use. But just as an example, here's a 1,000 tick reading. Go short, boom, market pulls back. 1,000 tick reading, go short. Market doesn't necessarily pull back, but it comes back a little bit. It's playable. 1,000 tick reading, market pulls back. Minus 1,000 tick reading, market does a little bit of rally. Obviously, this is a scalp play. Okay, it's not going to be a market direction. It's a scalp play. You're looking to fade a motion. Now, I've got some specific parameters here, and page 238. These are very, very important. First of all, here's my parameters on the YM and the ES. You can also use these on the Russell and the NASDAQ, and I can give you the parameters for those. On the YM, if we get a 1,000 tick reading, my target's 20 points and my stop is 30 points. Okay, what is that? That is a 1.5 to 1 risk-reward ratio. I found that by doing this play with that type of risk-reward ratio, you turn into an 80% winning play. You can tighten it up a little bit if you want, and the results don't fall that dramatically. But if you're using like a 10-point stop on this, you've got to be very, very precise with your entry. You've got to time it with the TTM trend. For me, I just if I hear 1,000 ticks, I just want to get in the trade. I don't want to mess around with all that. Okay. The second thing that's really important on this is that I only give it 35 minutes. Okay. If after 35 minutes my stop or my target hasn't been hit, I just get out at the market. All right, this is one of the only trades I do where I've actually got a time stop. And it's just that you can just get a little egg timer, just turn it on, and then forget about it. You come back, you hear it go off, you come back, you see if you're still in the trade. If you are, you just get out. Okay. Second thing, I only take trades between 10 a.m. and 3:30 p.m. Eastern. From 9:30 to 10, you don't know what the market action is too erratic. Okay, there's all kinds. There may have been some economic reports coming out. Whatever it is, it's not settled into a groove. So I'm going to wait till after 10. There's another reason I wait till after 10, which I'll show you in a second. And then from 3:30 to 4, that's another time when you can get some strange kind of buy and sell programs hitting the market, and I don't want to fade it during those times either. This is one of the few trades that I will take if I'm around during the doldrums and we get a 1,000 tick reading or a minus 1,000 tick reading. I'm all over it. It's a very, very good time to do a tick fade. So this part's important. There's going to be some days, it seems like once about every 6 weeks, you're going to get one of those days where the ticks just stay high, they stay high all day, okay? And if you'd spend the day fading, the tick fades that day, you just, get your head handed to you. So how do you filter out those days from the other ones, all right? So this is what I do. And this was kind of nice because we had 2 days like this back to back. Here's the zero line, right? Okay, so I'm not doing anything until 10 o'clock. So we almost get a minus 1,000 tick reading, like right at the opening bell, 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes in. Even if it would have been 1,000, I wouldn't have taken it because it's in the first 30 minutes of the day. Now, beyond that, we've got a day where the ticks are spending the bulk of their time below zero. Obviously, there's a lot of selling pressure hitting the markets on a day like this, and I'm not going to be fading it, okay? Another example here. Here's, ticks are at 1,200, 1,300, almost 1,400 in the first half hour of the trading day. The ticks spend like 2 seconds under zero. On these days, I'm not going to be fading the ticks. Now, these kind of days don't happen very much, but generally these are the result of a large breakaway professional gap up or a large breakaway professional gap down, and the selling pressure just keeps staying on and on and on and on. Okay, so they're actually, the best days when these happen, you're going to get a small gap, or you're going to get a mixed market, and you're going to be able to play these, okay? So let's look at some examples. So here's the Dow, here's the ticks. The chart you're looking at doesn't matter. 1 minute, 5 minute, the parameters are the same, the trade signal is the same. So the first trade comes here. You can see here's the zero line right here. So you can see that we've got ticks right away that have come below zero, so we've got a nice mixed amount of ticks here. Ticks hit 1,000, you go short, place your 30-point stop, your 20-point target, and a 35-minute time limit. In this case, 35 minutes takes place, and I'm still in my trade, but I'm 10 points profitable, and I just take it. Okay. Now, if you've got 10 trades over the course of a week, what I've seen is that 2 of those get stopped, maybe. 4 of them hit the target, and the rest of them are slightly profitable. Is generally the ratio that I've seen.
That's a market order?
Yes, these are all market orders. And it's just more examples. I mean, here's a great example right here. I mean, we come down, get a minus 1,000 tick reading, you go long, your target's hit, and then you turn right around and get a plus 1,000 tick reading, go short, your target's hit. So these are really great on those extreme days. Now, if you're really nervous on something like this, and the market's just crashing and you're like freaking out, you don't know what to do, based on the stuff we've covered so far, what is one thing that you could wait for to jump into the tick fade trade? Close. Scalper buy. Okay? The market's selling off, selling off, selling off. You're scared to jump in front of it. You got minus 1,000 tick readings. Scalper buy. Get in. Okay, let me just look at a couple more here. Now these are all in your book. You can go through them, but this is like the simplest trade ever. Another example here.
It's very hard to do, though.
It's the simplest trade, it's the hardest trade to do psychologically.
But it takes skill. But really, it's counterintuitive. You're sitting there going, "Oh, market is screaming up, 1,000 ticks short." What?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little counterintuitive.
So. And if you're nervous about it, just try it like with a one lot. Once you start getting comfortable that it works, it's one of the highest probability trades. It's the most counterintuitive. It's the best trade to do when the markets are mixed and there's not really a clear direction. And guess what? 70% of the time, the markets are not trending. Okay?
You got to watch your entry though, I bet, because if you're off by a few points on your entry, your risk reward's going to get all skewed.
You would think, but not really. Once you get 1,000 ticks, the chances of it going another 30 points higher are not that good. And in fact, the person that I learned this from will give a trade like that 60 points.
Sorry. If you miss the peak on the turn, let's say plus 1,000, if you miss the peak...
Oh, then you missed it.
Like maybe with a scalper, you're waiting for that scalper sell. You've come down a little bit.
Oh, I see what you mean.
You get into
Depends on style a little bit too, though.
Yeah, I guess there's going to be some times like this prior example. Can you just go back like one? Yep. I see. Okay, on this one right here. This is a big move. The market dropped 100 points in like 10 minutes. Okay, that's I mean, that doesn't happen very much. On something like that, you get the minus 1,000 ticks. Yeah, I mean, if you're nervous about that, you can wait for the scalper sell. The rest of these, though, I mean, this is normal. 1,000 ticks, 1,000 ticks. In fact, here's one that got stopped. No, actually, let's see. No, that was after 3:30. So okay, so here's a plus 1,000 ticks after 3:30, but you don't take it because it's after 3:30. Thank you. Could you? Oh, I can go forward. Never mind. So here's just an example of one day. So you've got the first one that goes off. It doesn't really do much. It doesn't hit the stop or the target, and by the time the timer goes off, you actually lose 5 points. Okay. The next one happens. The timer goes off. You're up 10 points. You get out. The next one goes off. It's a plus 9 points, and then finally you get stopped out for 30 points. So I found like on a day like this was a very unusual day because usually you're going to at least have one hit the target and things like that. But you can see for the most part they'll generally work out unless you get a massive series of buy programs coming in, and some of these did come in like right at 3 o'clock. Okay.
How would you use it?
So where's the zero on your tick?
Right here. And this. Yeah, this actually was a pretty. But you did have readings under 0. I mean, this is minus 550 right there. So I mean, all of this like right here is like the 0. But yeah, I mean, it was a pretty high day for ticks like that. I mean, the best days. I mean, you've got something like this, where, let's see. There's one. Oh, there we go. I just wanted to find one where the 0 line was actually drawn in. So here's the best days like this. I mean, these are perfect. You got plenty of ticks on both sides. The markets are choppy. They're not really doing too much, and that's the perfect day. I mean, the Dow is trading in a range of 40 points. Very slow day. Perfect day for tick plays. First 1,000 tick reading comes in. You're out for plus 20 points. The next one comes in. It just kind of chops around. Your timer goes off. You're out for 2 points. The next 1,000 tick comes in. You're out for 20 points. So 3 trades, 42 points, done. And it's a choppy day. I mean, how many people are getting, just getting chewed up in commissions and everything on this day? So, I mean, there's more examples. I mean, is there any questions on this? It's a very straightforward play.
Yes, for your target stop parameters, is it the same for the ES and the Russell?
Yeah, if you wanted to, like for the Russell, when I do this on the Russell, I generally will use a 3-point stop and the 2-point target right around there. And then for the NASDAQ, it was like a 8-point stop and a 6-point target. Same parameters. Okay? 3 and 2. And it's a good one to do on all the indexes.
So here you don't get out by loss, just by covers the
Get out by what?
lots
Lots?
by part.
No, I'm all in, all out.
All in, all out.
Yep. Let's see. So, yeah, I'm trying to find another one with the 0 line because that's kind of easiest to look at. Maybe, there's another one. So here's an example of a day where you've got extreme ticks above 0. So even though you're getting these 1,000 tick readings, you're not taking them. So it's kind of, it's pretty obvious a lot of times when to take them and when not to take them. The best times in the first hour, you've got plenty of ticks above, plenty of ticks below. Things are going to be going like that.
And a big gap up too.
Yeah, and a lot of times when you get the extreme readings, you are getting the big gaps as well. And what we're going to do, let's see, it's 4:45. We're going to come back. We're probably going to cover one more section, and then we'll go through and do some live trade station stuff, and we'll actually hook the trade station up here so you guys can see it. So what we're going to do now is we've gone through and talked about all these different things. So one of the things that we've been wanting to do is just take you guys through some of the basic stuff in TradeStation. So Hubert's sitting down at his laptop, and we're just going to go through just kind of, well, the whole idea is he's just going to go through and just kind of show you how he uses the stuff. And then when he's done, we can like kind of go through in questions or if there's specific things that you guys want to see and things like that. Or if you guys have questions, I'll see you and we'll just go from there.
There are tons of different ways to use TradeStation. This is just how I use it. I'll show you a couple ways that you can increase your screen real estate and stuff if you have limited space on monitors. I'm just going to show you how I use it. So first thing is when you go to the File menu, there's a thing called Preferences. And you go to TradeStation Desktop, okay? Now in here, there's 3 check boxes underneath View. You can either hide all title bars, only show the title bar of the active window, or show the title bar of all selected above. I always have it on hide title bars so that the chart fills up the entire space, okay? Here's what it looks like different. And it's a small detail, but it takes up space. Okay, so now it's active and you see this big gray Windows type title bar, right? I don't need it, so I always just tell it to always take them off, which is the TradeStation desktop, hide all title bars. Only thing you have to be aware of, when you come up here, if you want to move this window, you move it like this. You know, just go over and left click right here and it'll do it. If you need to minimize, you right click and then you can minimize it and it'll go down, okay? If you need to resize it, it can be resized too. You just come over here and grab it and resize it, okay? It'll save you, if you've got, you're looking at 20 charts on a laptop, it'll save you a good 3-4 inches if you add them up, okay? So that's one thing. We'll just go down through piece by piece here, see if we can find any good stuff. Obviously, you can send the workspace, like I can send you guys the workspaces within TradeStation. If you like one, I can just send workspace, type in your email address, and it'll fire it off to your email address, okay? Other things in the preferences, I don't think I really mess with the preferences much. That's all default. That's the only thing I change under the View tab. Under the Workspace tab, I don't really change anything. The desktop bars, I leave it alone. Command line, never touch it. Sessions, never touch it. Desktop, I just keep it the same. There is one thing that you can do, which is a kind of a pet peeve, like, let me find out where it's at. Like when you do another chart, who likes to have them all spaced exactly the same way? I mean the same chart? There's probably some of you guys here. I hate it. It drives me insane. Let me figure out where it's at. What is it called? General, automatic, there it is right here. Window resizing options. Automatically resize windows when the size of TradeStation is modified. That's fine. Automatically arrange windows when a new window is created. This thing will wreak havoc on your TradeStation. Watch what happens. Every time I click a new chart, where's my chart window at? Oh, it's over here. Watch this. So now it should go the same size. Okay? So now if we hit another one, it'll break it up in thirds. If we hit another one, it'll break it up in fourths. It looks real nice and pretty, but if you want one chart bigger than the other one, you're screwed. So I hate it, but you do have the option to do that if you're so inclined. Yeah, that's no get out. Main thing you want to do as soon as you get TradeStation is go to the View thing, and then you want to go down to the Toolbars option and make sure you have selected Main, Toolbars and EL Shortcuts, Chart Analysis, and Drawing. And I always get rid of the shortcut bar, this big thing here. I mean, it takes up a lot of space, and it's the exact same things as these little icons here are. So I always get rid of that. Always get rid of the order bar. You can do that by here, by View, Order Bar, and View Status Bar. The status bar will show up in the bottom of the thing. It's another 1/4 of an inch, so I never view it. If the prices are moving, the TradeStation data feeds up. You don't need that little green light or that red light down there blinking. Okay? That's it for the file menu. The copy window, neat little function in TradeStation is you can right click on a chart and then go copy, and then you can open up a total another workspace right here, and then you can come over here and paste the exact same chart that you just copied. Okay, so it's a neat little time saver. Edit, view, order bar, status bar. No, I don't use any of that stuff. Data. I don't use hotkeys on TradeStation either. Toolbars, chart analysis, preferences. I don't use any of that. Insert, symbol. Here's one thing. I don't know how many people, if they know how to do it or not. You can actually, like sometimes on some indicators, you've got to have an underlying data feed. So like on this one, I'm going to make it a gap chart. This is the 5-minute chart of the Dow, okay? So I've already got my sessions. I'm kind of under time or space because I don't have much laptop space. Gaps. All right. So on some indicators, it'll require to have like a 5-minute or a 60-minute data feed underneath it to calculate it. So the easy way to do it is just go insert symbol, and then for this one you would just go, like #, TICK, okay? And then you can plot it. Always have prompt for format so you can mess with things. So if I want to put this in the subgraph 2, I can, okay? And that's what we'll do. We'll just go intraday tick. So now you have the YM and the tick on the same chart, all right? If you want to hide it, like for a tick divergence tool, one thing you can do is, and if you don't want to look at this, is you can just format it, just go format. Instead of subgraph 2, just hide it and hit OK. Now it's underneath that chart, but it can still be calculated for indicators, okay? So, and there are some indicators that people sell out there that are useful for like tick divergences that require that, okay? Let's see what else. Insert. That's just the indicators. You can do that. Instead of going insert indicator, I always right click and just go right click, insert analysis technique, and just grab them from here. Okay. Strategy, nothing bad. Format symbol, account number, bar count percent, spaces to the right. This is useful for the look. Insert spaces, format, and then go format, and then spaces to the right. However many spaces you want to the right of the chart of the last ticks, you can just go let's just go 50, so it'll be a lot. Now, from the candles to the far on the right, there's 50 spaces. For aesthetic reasons, some people like to do it. So I'm just going to set mine back to 2. I'm just going to go format, make it 2. So, I mean, that's one thing you can do. What else? Yes?
Up there at the center of your chart, there's a price bar that's...
Right here?
Yes.
Oh, here's one thing you can do. If you've got that, you can go right-click on the chart, go Format Window. No, I'm sorry. Right-click, Format Symbol. Let's get rid of this one. And then what you can do is you go to Scaling. And you go Screen, Center Last Price on Chart, and then you can go Set as Default. Now, my price is centered in the last tick on the chart is centered in the center. If you want to see that better right there, all you have to do is go right-click, Format Symbol. You can either do Entire Data Series. I don't really recommend that. Or you can go User Defined. And that's about 106. Let's do 106.80. Then you just go 106.90. And then hit OK. Okay? I mean, you can do that if you want to. How I have it set is I always just go, I have mine set to Screen, Center, Last Price of Chart, set as default, so I never have to look at it again. And then you can do that. If you want to crunch the chart together or expand it, there's a couple ways to do that. You can use the toolbar here. It'll crunch them together like that. You can see the arrows on the side crunching the bars. You can expand them. You can also click on the chart and use the up and down arrows on your keyboard. Okay? Up and down will work too. If you want to go farther to the right, you can use the left arrow or the right arrow. That's pretty basic stuff. Format, nothing else in there. Drawing, large pointer. Crosshair pointer is this, so that you see the crosshair everywhere you go. I'm going to change it back to large. Pointer tracking is useful to, let's say, if we were going to look at the Dow Mini and we've got another chart of, let's say, 1,000 tick reading. How do I get that off pointer tracking? View, large pointer. We're going to change this to the tick. And we're going to change it to a 2-minute. Now, if you want to see, let's do a 1 minute. Exactly at 1,000 ticks, what exactly did the price do? Okay, so here's 1,000 ticks, right? So now, all you have to do is go up here. It's right here. You can either go set tracking mode, or you can go drawing, pointer tracking, window, workspace, or global. Never ever put it on global, because it'll be on every workspace you have open, and it'll slow TradeStation down a lot, okay? The best way to do it is just workspace. Now, I know that if I put the pointer right here, at this specific time, when the ticks were 1,000, up top on the 5-minute chart, that's exactly where the ticks were 1,000, okay? So it's a nice little training tool to see where your indicator fired off on different time frames, and where they fired off on like a 5-minute.
Where did you start with that, Hubert?
You can go.
It seems like if you would have shorted the 1,000 ticks, you would have made money. Is that a play that you?
That's a play, yeah. You go
Drawing. Okay.
drawing, pointer tracking, and then workspace.
I've been wondering how.
You can also do it here. You see this little signal here, this little symbol where it says setting the graph with the T on it. Click that, and it comes up too. And now to turn it off, you just go off. And if you want to go back to the mouse pointer, you can click that. So that's one thing. One thing, if you use pointer tracking, make sure. Now I have to do this and go all the way to the far right of the chart. If you don't, if you forget to go all the way to the far right of the chart, and then you turn off pointer tracking, your ticks will be printing off here, and you won't even know it. And you'll be like, man, there is nothing moving. So just make sure you do that.
So you repeat that one more time. You have to go all the way to the right before you turn it off.
Yeah. Because if you don't, like if you go right here, watch. Where's the price section? Let's go back a little bit in time. Let me do this one. If there was more price action over here, you couldn't see it. So what you have to do is you have to take this and go all the way to the far right of the chart so that you make sure they all line up. Then turn it off.
Anytime
that scroll button gets anywhere but all the way to the right,
yeah,
blocked up.
Exactly.
They correct that in 8.1.
Yeah, whatever.
Well, sort of maybe.
No, I use it and it doesn't happen.
Oh.
I happen many other things.
Andrew's Fibonacci tools, I'm not going to go over that. Cycles, trend lines, arcs, up and down arrow. A lot of people ask how you put arrows on charts. You do it right here. There's an arrow. There's an arrow. You can format it. You can right-click on it and format the arrow. You can make it whatever size you want or whatever color. You can set it as a default and hit OK. Then you can move it around. Text on TradeStation is a little weird. You can add it, but if you make a mistake and you can't spell, it's kind of hard to go back and edit it again.
How can you write on the chart?
Like this.
No.
Oh, I use that software that we use to record charts with.
Oh.
The videos.
Okay.
Yeah, different software.
Oh.
Yeah.
You should type in ay.
Drawing, pointer tracking, window, help. Nothing there. All right, let's go through how I build. I'm just going to go through how I build the screen that I built today, okay? And then let's go through how to build a custom time session so everybody knows how to do that, like a gap chart, because a lot of times it's not included in TradeStation. And then how to add sound alerts, because that's a little difficult if you've never done it before, all right? So I'm going to start with, I'm just going to build the exact same thing that I was trading off of today. Close. I don't need my drawing tools, so I'm going to turn them off real quick. View, toolbars. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I need a chart. So I come up here and just click on the new chart analysis window, and then I take this one and I put it in the upper left hand corner, and then I'm going to resize it. And the first chart I look at is a gap chart, okay? And it's a 2-minute because I like a 2-minute chart for the raw price action. So I click on this little clock that says interval, left click on it, and then I select the 2-minute chart, okay? Second thing I do is I need to change it from a tick to @YM. So I left click on the chart and then go shift number 2 and then YM and then hit enter. And it just goes and grabs the data. Okay? And I want to make sure that I've checked so that the chart is centered. It is. Well, let's just double check it. Scaling, screen, center, set as default, and hit OK. So now we've got that set, but we really don't have this. Is this Globex? Yep, this is. Let's see if it's a Globex or a Gap. So that's Globex. And here's how you can tell. You see all this spotty action? That's a 24-hour chart. So here's how you build these things. In TradeStation, you have to go right here. You see this thing that says Sessions? All right. On this one, it's highlighted as a 24-hour session, okay? Well, I mean a regular session. This is what a 24-hour session looks like. Pretty much the same thing. So I'm going to build one, but I've already got one. So the first thing you do is just scroll down to Other Sessions, okay? And then you hit the Create button. Then you name it. I'm just going to call it Gaps 2, okay? And then you hit Add, and for some reason you have to name it again. GAPS, the number 2. Then you start on a Monday.
I think in version 8.1 you can change it 3 times.
You do. It's crazy. And then you want to start this chart at 9:30 a.m. East Coast time. And hit sorry. Then go. This is a Monday too.
Is that set on the exchange time? That's what I thought.
What? Oh, 8:30. I'm sorry. Excuse me.
Yes, just make sure
8:30.
Exchanges are on Central.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm getting mixed up in Chicago. Then you do the end date Monday, and then you want 3:15 a.m. 3:15 p.m.
You wouldn't want to end on Friday?
Nope, not yet. That'd be a long chart. Make sure you check this box. Use this session as end of day trading marker. Also set exit on close keyword. Hit OK. And now, when you back out of here, hit add Monday through Friday. Now you can see it added Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Then hit OK one more time, and then hit OK one more time. There's your gap from today. Okay? So now, if you have a chart, anytime you want a gap chart, if your default chart goes like that, now it's really easy because you've saved it. Now you go Sessions, Gap 2, and there's your gap chart. It's really easy. And you can set it. You can set up any custom session that you want. Okay? So that's how we do that. Now that we've got that chart, I want to build a one of the S&P. So instead of sitting here and going through all this again, all I will do is go right-click, copy window, paste window. I'll grab it and bring it down here and go at ES. There's the gap on the ES. Now, if you can't really see the gap, there's another little trick you can do is you can just go right-click on the chart and go Format Window, and then go Session Breaks, and then just make it real bright so you can see it. So now there's the gap. There's the close on Friday. There's the open on Monday. Okay? Same thing on this if you want to do that. So now you can see the gap a little bit easier. So that's kind of how I've got the stuff built. I'm going to make these a little bigger. Second thing I have on my chart set up is I have a 50-tick chart. But it's a 24-hour chart. So I click the chart button again, and it's going to be a 50-tick chart. So I have to go right-click, Format Symbol, and I go to the Settings tab, and then I change it to a tick interval. And then for me, I use the 50 tick underneath it because I scalp a lot. And then I just say OK. All right. Now, I also put the 50 tick on a bar chart. I don't really use a candle. So I just hit the bar chart button. Or you can change it the way John does and use 18 different moves to go change the bar type.
It gives me a feeling of usefulness.
You can, if you don't want to hit the button, you can right click, Format Symbol, hit the Style button, and then go high-low, open, high-low, close bar, and then hit OK. It's the same thing. So here we have our 50-tick chart. So what I have to add to it is the TTM trend. So I right-click on it. I go Insert Analysis Technique. And then under the Indicator tab, I want to go find the TTM trend. For the TTM trend, it's a paint bar. And you want to scroll down to TTM trend V2. Always check the prompt just in case you ever want to mess with anything. I'm going to look at the inputs. I've got it set to look, it's going to calculate 6 bars back. And then I just hit OK. It changes the bars from green to blue and red. All right. Second thing I want to do is I want to add the squeeze. Okay. First, let's make sure we got this on 24 hours. That's kind of important. Click on the chart one time. Click on the session button and put it to 24 hours. Now we want to add the squeeze. We right-click on the chart, insert analysis technique, go to the indicator tab, and then we scroll down till we see the TTM squeeze. Either one of them will work. They're both fine. And now I just apply it, and it looks like that. When you apply the squeeze, it looks like this. I don't personally like the look of it, so I changed it. And I'll show you how I change it right here. So the first thing we do, let's blow this up so it's just a little easier to see. So the first thing is, it's a little hard to see, right? So what I do is I come down here and left-click on the indicator, and then right-click on it and go Format the Indicator. And I go under the Inputs tab, and just scroll down. I change the alert color to, what is it, red and green, right? Red and green, yeah, change it to green. And change this one to, yeah, I can't spell, that's why. Green. Yeah, that too. Change this one to blue. And then change this to dark blue. And then I go over to the style tab, vol comp point. I select this thickness right here on the weight. For the histogram, I select this thickness for the weight, and then I hit OK. So now it looks prettier, it's easier to see. Okay? That's it. Now, the main thing is, when we talked about the 50 tick, I use a length of 15, and right now it's set to 20. So we left click, then right click, format the squeeze, go to the Inputs tab, and change the length from 20 to 15, and you can just hit OK. If you're going to plot this thing on a future, make sure that this is a 1. If you're going to plot it on a stock, make sure that this is a 2. If it's going to be FX, under symbol type, put in a 3. It doesn't mess with the calculation. It just scales the histogram for you. All right? So now we hit OK, and now we've got a better signal.
Can you include there a bar chart? I mean, the GM with bar?
That is a bar chart.
No, green and red.
Candles?
Candles.
You can do it with candlesticks, yeah?
No, have both. That one and the candle.
Does GTM work on a candle?
No. It will work, but it'll look ugly.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to do that, put candlesticks on top, TTM underneath it, and then the squeeze underneath that. I mean, you can do that.
Okay.
All right, so now that we've got that, I need to...
What about pivot line?
You have to talk to John about pivots.
Oh, you don't include that in there?
I don't do pivots.
Okay.
John does pivots. So
what about the pivot plate? You don't do that one?
Nope.
Okay.
What about the red and blue dots?
Yeah, I don't do that either.
Oh, sorry, I'm supposed to know how to put it in.
Only 60 minutes, sir.
I'll put them on here. Let me build my workspace, and then I'll build John's workspace. All right? It's just I don't use it. All right, so we've got the 2-minute chart of the Dow with a gap. I have the 50 tick, and then we have the ES on a 2-minute with the gap too. Second thing I gotta have is I gotta have time and sales. All right, got to be able to read tape. I right click on the chart and go create. Come over here and scroll down to time and sales for YM. Okay, and then here's a good thing to do too before we go to that step. Some of this stuff's a little hard to read, right? Because it's small. Right click on the chart, format window, font, pick your size, and it should increase the size over here. Oh, I did the upper one. Hold on, format window. Status line. I want the status line. I want the axis line. Yeah, 9, axis label, 12. All right, so now it's bigger. Okay, so you can read it. Let's go change the others too, just so we can see them. Format window, 12, okay. Format window, 12, okay. Now this one's a little hard to see, so we're really going to have to blow it up a little. Format window, font, 12. Save the font, okay. All right. And it's kind of because we don't have a lot of...
How you call that?
All right, so the first thing I want to do is I want to make this one... I'm right-clicking on the chart to get this window to come up. Right-click, Format, @YM. I want to show all trades. Click this button, show all trades, and hit OK. All right? So now I see all trades, 1 through whatever executes through time and sales. Okay? So now that I've got that one, I kind of shrink the size down. I don't know if I'm going to be able to fit all this on a chart, man, on this little laptop.
You might be able to do, I mean, because normally you'd have all that in one big screen. You may have to do half and then do another workspace.
I think I've got a workspace I can come up. So.
And what about the alarm?
So, not there yet. Format, columns. I take away time. I take away type. I take away exchange. And I take away condition. All I want to see is the price and the size. Okay? All right. Now, we right-click on this and we go copy window. All right. We right-click and we go paste window. Bring it over here. Put it side by side. Now we right-click on it and go Format, @YM, show all trades greater than or equal to 10 contracts.
Those are the rooster and the chicken.
Yep. And now you have the big guys and the little guys. All right. There's got to be. Is there a way to make it so I can have more stuff in there, so it fills up that chart?
If you increase the resolution.
That's all right. Here, I'll just do a different date. Watch this.
Sunday probably.
No, yeah, Sunday probably didn't have it. So I'm just wanting it to look good on the screen. Saturday probably didn't work either.
Saturday was kind of quiet.
No data available?
Yes. Yeah, what'll happen is at 8:30 we're going to actually look at the gap and stuff like that, but it's kind of informal. Actually, yeah. Just so you guys know, real quick, tomorrow, since the market obviously opens at 8:30, for those of you that won't be going to the hotel tonight, you want to get here a little bit earlier tomorrow, probably like around 8 or so. We'll actually start looking at the market data, gaps at 8:30 and things like that. Here.
Oh, here.
When? Tomorrow we're coming here. Yes. Yeah. Same bat time. It's just we're gonna be here. We're gonna start half an hour earlier than we did today.
Tomorrow, the timing?
No.
Tomorrow's what? Timing.
Yeah, there's something. Yeah, we're gonna, and actually, I'm gonna have a call with the CME today to find out exactly. But they're actually opening up a room for us that hasn't been used since like past 9/11 in terms of like it's the visitors gallery right behind the pit. And we're gonna try to get some of the folks. So you can go like in groups of 10 onto the floor, but you got to be in a tie. So not, I don't even know if I want to wear a tie tomorrow to do all, or Wednesday to do all that. Right. So we're going to check on that and we'll, follow up more tomorrow.
You need a tie tomorrow?
No.
Are you sure that you need a tie? It's just no jeans, isn't it?
CBOT is casual. CME, there's actually some policies where, tomorrow, it's not an issue tomorrow.
All right, cool. So now I've got a 2-minute chart of the Dow, a 50 tick of the Dow, a 2-minute chart of the ES, time and sales for everything, and time and sales for 10 and above, okay? So next thing is we need some market internals, so I have to build the charts. Easiest way to do it to save time is just build one and then copy the thing 3 or 4 times. So what we're going to do is let's just maximize the chart. We're going to change the chart. We go Format Symbol, Style tab, Line on Close. You guys know the difference between a line on close and a bar chart, right? We'll change this to cash sign WPCVA. That's the put call ratio. And we'll put in a insert a session break here. We'll make it yellow. So now you can see where the put call opened up at. So now on the put call today, so what was the rule on the put call?
Over one
And then if you want to do a line, you can also put a line in. Let's go View, Toolbars, Drawing Tools. If you want to do this, all you have to do is take your drawing tool, grab your horizontal line, put it on, 1.0, and you can see it traded above 1.0 a lot today. All right. You can also put an audio alert, and we'll do that next. We'll go through that next in just a minute. So now that I have this chart built like this, I just right-click on it and go Copy. All right. I'm going to shrink this one down just so I can see what's going on. All right. You have to remember this little laptop is like a little 12-inch screen, but you can still get away with it. And then I'll show you another one that I built today. So now I'm just going to paste this again. There's the put call. Now I need the trend. Cash sign TRIN. Hit enter. I kind of like to make them different colors, just so I know who's who and what's what. Okay. So then I'll just left click on the price, go format trend, and under regular session color here, I'll just change it to a different color. Okay. And then I copy this chart, right click on it, copy window, right click, paste window. Oh man, I lost it. There it is.
Is it 5 minutes? It's not lower?
Yeah, I'm going to change them to 1 minute here in just a minute. It's just for the space on the chart, I'm using 5. I usually use 1 minute, but trend. Now this is going to be the tick. All right. Now, so internals, that's it, and then you go along and you build the thing for the premium too, okay? And you have to scale it for premium. Then you have to build another one for a bar chart for the ticks, for the candles, so you can put the price levels in there, okay? So for that one,
another one for the ticks?
The tick, yeah. Like this is the tick, but it's a line on close, so it's just going to show you the tick hooks.
Right.
So you want another one of these. You want to go copy. Yeah, and what I'll do is if I'm traveling with the laptop, I'll go like this. I'll go paste window, change this thing to a bar chart or a candle, and then I'll have my audio alerts on here with the lines, and we'll go over that. Then after I've got that set up, I'll just shrink it because I don't really need to see it because I'll hear it. Okay? Same thing for the Tiki, and same thing for the premium buys and sales.
How do you bring that tick back? I don't see a button or anything.
You don't see what?
Oh, there you go.
It's right there. It's just if you shrink it, it goes down to the lower left, and then they start going across. Okay? All right. So now we've got that one shrunk. Now we need some different ticks. I like the format. Let me copy. Now I'm going to have a 5 minute. I'm just going to put a 5 minute, and then I'm going to show you guys the one that I built while John was talking today. Copy window. Paste window. And then I want to change this to a 5 minute chart. So come over here to the clock and go 5 minute. I want to make sure it's a 24-hour time session. It is, so I'm okay. And then I can shrink that down and use it wherever I need it, okay? So now with this chart here, I can pretty much see exactly what's going on with the market, with my setups, I mean the way I trade. I do have a little bit better, I built it a little bit better as opposed to doing it on the fly today, like right here.
YM still right down here.
That is a YM, yes. All right, so, and I don't have to see the entire chart because I can always blow it up. But this is a little laptop screen. On the 20-inch Dells or the big flat panel screens, you got more real estate. So the one that I built today, I just called Dashboard. So I go File, Open a Workspace, and then it's called Dashboard. It's right there. And it'll come up and it'll load, and you'll see kind of the one that I built while I was trading a little bit today. So right there's how I traded today, off that right there. All right. This one obviously would have more black with it filled up. It's just the market's closed, so there's only four lots of 10 or above that traded. So here I've got the Dow Mini with a gap, so that I know where the gap is. The 50-tick chart. I don't really have to see the price action that well. I just need to see the color of the dots and the colors of the bars. Okay. The S&P, the 5-minute chart, the 2-minute chart, the 1-minute chart, the 89-tick chart. If I need to see one, I'll just click on it and go like this, or I'll just blow it up so I can look at it real quick. Here's the premium, and I had my premium numbers already set in there. As you can see, we didn't. There's the premium. I think it's the wrong premium numbers. It might be. I have to double check.
Because it jumped at the end.
Oh, okay. So that's the premium buys and sells. Here's the ticky. Here is the ticks. Here's the trend, and there's the put-call ratio. So the 2 trades that I did today, and I ended up making what was it?
5,160.
Yeah, like $5,100. I did 2 trades today, and I was just using this little screen here, and I just did 2 trades.
In between building a dashboard and teaching.
Yeah.
And those lines,
And John getting onto me because I'm clicking my mouse too loud.
and those lines you have in the similar charts, where are they?
The bricks, we'll go over those tomorrow.
No.
These?
No, in the cumulative GM chart.
Oh, that's where. Oh, I went. Okay. She's asking what those lines are. That's how I was managing a trade. I went long here, and then I got out there, and then I was just showing people a gotcha trade here, how to trade it. So those are just lines to tell me what I was doing. Now, there's a couple things I'm going to go through a little bit. Let's go through some more stuff about how to. You can build up to, I think, 16 workspaces. You might be able to do more. Just be a little calm on the workspaces. You don't want to overdo it.
It shows the sound alert.
Yeah, let's go through the sound alert on how to do that.
You share your layouts on the website?
Yeah.
You can just download?
Yeah. But I don't do it for all different resolutions. So here's a tick. Let's build the sound alerts on the tick chart because this is kind of involved. And it's stuff that I get asked a lot in the room. First thing you do is you have a chart up, and it's #, TICK. And what you want to do is you want to build all your lines. The easiest way to do it is first scale this thing so that you are all the way to the right. Right-click on the chart, go Format Symbol, go Scaling, and then go User Defined. And you want it to be above 1200. I'm going to make it 1350. And you want it to be below 1200. So it has to be minus 1350. Oh, okay. Minus 1350. You just want to scale it so you can set them on there. It doesn't matter. It's not a critical thing. Now what you want to do here is go over here and grab your horizontal line and then place it as close as you can to 1200. Like that's as close as I'm getting today. All right. If you want to change the color, go Format Horizontal Line. Let's just make it bright white, set default, hit OK. Now, this will save you a lot of time in building this thing. Right-click on this line and go New Parallel Line. Right-click on it again, New Parallel Line. Right-click, New Parallel Line. You see how it's going 1200, 1000, 800, 600? Do that because if you try to draw all of them, you'll kill yourself in about 10 minutes.
How'd you get it to go to 1,000 in a second?
It's just spaced that way. You can click and drag them, yeah. But it's easier just to get the first one on negative 12,000, and TradeStation throws them up.
At 200-point interval?
Yeah. So now all I'm doing is going right-click, New Parallel. Right-click, New Parallel. Right-click, New Parallel. Right-click, New Parallel. Until I get up to plus 1,200. New Parallel. Right-click.
Try to grab one and place it to see what happens.
Yeah, it'll drive you nuts.
No, just want to see.
New Parallel. All right, so watch this. If I want to put this one on 800, I can grab this one and put it anywhere. But you don't really want to spend all day long dragging and putting these lines. Set the minus 1200 line first so you don't have to mess with it. All right. So now that you've got your lines on there, and John's already taught you that anything below 600 ticks doesn't really mean anything. You know, you just delete them suckers. Now, we're going to put a tick alert on the plus 1200, okay? First thing you got to do is you right-click on the line. Let's make these thicker so it'll show up better. Format. I'm just going to do this for the video because it'll look better for the DVD. There, now we can see that line. All right. Format. Let's make the labels a little bigger too. All right. So now what you're going to do is you're going to right-click on this line. You're going to go Format Horizontal Line. You left-click there. Then you go to Alerts. Then you click on Enable Alert. This is pretty important. On your drop-down menu, and this is in TradeStation 8.0. They have changed things in TradeStation 8.1. They're a little harder. What you want to do is you want to select Breakout on an intra or enter bar, okay? And then click Use Custom Settings. And then you can go Disable Alert Once Hit, but if it hits 1,000 ticks and then it does it again, you won't hear it. So don't check that. Now, after you have hit Use Custom Settings, you go to the Configure tab, and then you hit Audio Alert, the check mark. And then if you want to use one of their built-in sounds, just click Sounds, and then play the sound. And here is what the sound sounds like. One of their built-in sounds. Okay? And then you just got a list down here. So if you want to do, you know.
Do you say play continuously or play once?
Just play this. Just do it right here. You just play it once. Once it's hit, just play once.
Just play once?
Yeah. All right. So now, those are the built-in sounds. You guys are going to want the custom sounds probably. So how you've got to do that is you have to go, first you have to download the sounds, the WAV files, to your hard drive. Okay? So I've already got a list of ones on my hard drive, so now I'm going to go find them. So what are you going to do is you're going to go Sounds, Configure, and then you're going to go Browse. And then we get to go look for the sounds. I think I have mine on my desktop. So I've got Sounds here. And then let's say we're at 1,200 ticks, so let's use 1,200 ticks. Very, very, very important. You have to name the thing the exact same name that the file is when you import it into TradeStation. If you don't, it will not work.
One more time?
This name has to match the name of the alert.
Okay, but that name you just downloaded, you had to download.
I've already got them on. I've already got them on my hard drive.
Okay.
But like it's on my desktop, so I had to go find it first on the browse button. You're going to select this, right-click it, and copy it so you don't have to type it. Now hit Open. So now this thing, I have to give it a name over here. You have to make sure in the path, when you go over here, make sure that the path is plus 1,200 ticks. So I'm just going to paste it in there, okay? But you can take it from right here.
Yeah, so the part you have to duplicate is the actual, that actual name right there. If it's not the same, it won't line up.
Yeah, if it's not the same name, it won't reference the file and you won't hear anything. So now you hit Add. And then you hit OK. Yeah, it is redundant. And now if it hits the 1,200 ticks, here's what we're going to hear.
Plus 1,200 ticks, plus 1,200 ticks.
Okay? So now you can do custom little wacky sounds if you want. We've got some of those. And then we've got Priyanka where she's recorded them because it takes a little while, believe it or not. Like if you hear Homer, you're like, oh, damn, what's Homer mean? You're like, slot machines, that's something important. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, John's got one he uses for plus 1,200 ticks. Mrs. Soprano going, this is such a crock of shit.
I have that at 1,000. Do we have that one on there?
I don't have it here.
I may have it.
I've got it on the server. Do you have it? If you do, just plug it in. Plug into the speakers here. See if you got it.
Go ahead, I'll look for it.
All right, so that's the way you do it. And then you have to import every custom sound like that. So if you want custom sounds, you got to go through that process. But it's good because you don't have to sit there in front of the machine going, and you turn around and go, son of a gun, I just missed 1,000 tick trade. And if you hear plus 1,000 ticks, oh, I got to get on this trade real quick.
Would you have shorted that today?
I did not short it today. Why did I not short it?
Because post-clock radio show was over.
Congratulations.
Was that on the total ratio of 1?
The put call ratio was above 1 for the majority of the day, so no, I would not have done it.
You're going to show us how to use that time in sales?
Tomorrow. I'm going to go through like a couple of things on TradeStation here, like on the charts that I don't know if you guys know how to do. Let's go through and we're just going to build a chart of like at YM on the daily, all right? Yeah, pay attention. I'm just building charts. daily. All right, so now we've got let's say we want to add like 3 indicators to this chart. We're going to just add like the RSI, the stochastic, and the MACD. So we're going to make it real easy. We're going to right click on the chart. We're going to go insert analysis techniques. And then I'm going to look for the RSI, which is right here. Now what you can do is you can add these one by one, or you can just hold the control key down and make your life simpler and grab all 3 at once. So just hold the control key down, and now I'm going to go look for the MACD. Oh, I don't want that one. I'm going to come up here and get the MACD, if I can find it. The MACD, I've already got the RSI, and now I'm going to scroll down here and get the slow stochastic. And now, while I'm holding the control key, I'm going to hit OK. I've got it set up to where it always asks me to format the indicator. I don't need to change anything. I'm just going to hit OK on everything. So I actually like the chart. I like the RSI to be on top of price action, okay? So an easy way to do it is just come down here and left click on the thing where you'll see the little dots. That means it's active, okay? I left click. Second thing you do is left click again and hold until you see that little, you see where my mouse is? You see the little box? That means you can move it. Okay, you just grab it and drop it up on pane 1, okay? Now, let's say I like this look and I want to duplicate it. You can do it a couple different ways. You can either right click and copy the chart, or copy the window, and then just paste it again, right? An easier way is just to build a thing. Just go right click, save analysis group. And I'm going to save the analysis group as RSI MACD STOS. And then I'm just going to hit OK. So now watch what happens. I open up a chart, and I want to make it an ES chart, and I want to put the exact same stuff on it. So I'm going to go at ES, and then after that I just go right click on the chart, insert analysis group, and from this list find the one that I just made, which is RSI, MACD, and stochastic, hit OK, and boom, it's done. Alright. A couple other things you can do if you like linking charts. You can, let's say you like to link multiple time frames, okay? What you can do is, let's go daily. Now I'm just going to copy this real quick. Copy, paste, 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 paste. All right, we're just going to have 4 time frames. Actually, we're just going to have 3 time frames.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So this is going to be a daily. This is going to be a 60-minute. So I'm going to change this one to 60. And then this one's going to be a 15-minute. Okay? All right. If you want to change these all at once, you have to hyperlink them together. You see, which one do I do it? The right or the right? This one in here. There's a little, you see this little hash mark? Let me go in here and make it so you know what it's doing. Preference, TradeStation desktop.
There are 2. What's the difference between the right and the left hash mark?
I don't know.
Oh, me neither.
I need to view it real quick. Okay. So you just click this right here. Make them all the same color. Okay. Now it means anytime you change. So we got a daily, a 60-minute, and a 15. So now what we're going to do is we're going to change it to at ES. At ES and hit enter. And now they'll all change in real time to that same symbol. Okay. Now you can also do that. Let's say you had, I'll download from the office my big sector thing tonight, and we'll do a little bit of it tomorrow at the close. Not as long as today, obviously, because it took so long to get the projector working. But I'll go through how to hyperlink a radar screen and how to place an indicator in radar screen. Okay, I can do a part of the radar screen right now. Hold on just a second. For radar screen, I think it's this button here. On radar screen, every little box is a chart, pretty much. So let's go at ES, at YM, okay, at ER, to, oh, I didn't do that. All right, let's format the page, make the fonts bigger so we can read them. All right, so if you want to, I'm going to take off, this is an interval. You can change your interval if you want. You just go format interval. Hold on. Right click. Format. Oh, let's see. I'm going to insert the indicator first. I'm going to take off the ones that are on there that I don't need. I don't need the last, so I'm going to remove it. I don't need the percent. I'm going to remove that one. Don't need net. I don't need the ask. I don't need the bid. I just need the high-low.
Okay, did you show how to like save analysis as group? So you insert the whole group?
Yep.
Okay.
Already shown it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here and see which one. I'm going to insert an RSI. So I'm just going to scroll down here to get to RSI. Click on RSI, click add, and move it down, and then hit OK. So now, if any of these are overbought or oversold, they'll color them, okay? It'll say, like, if the RSI is overbought, it'll color it for that. If it's oversold, it'll color it for that. Right now, none of these are. Let's see if we can find one that is. Nope. 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 None of them's really got a real high RSI reading. But anyway, it'll color green and red, or red and green, whichever color it is. You can hyperlink. You know how we hyperlinked the charts last time? If we set this up as the same color, then all these charts will change now too. Watch when I click on this symbol. Now all the ones in the background change to Google. Okay? So you can use this as a filter tool, and we'll go over more of that tomorrow. Somebody at the office trades a little bit of Google. You think? Somebody in the office really likes Google. So that's pretty much it. I'll try to make another checklist for some of the other stuff that you can do in TradeStation. That's the basics on how I use it. Have you guys got any specific questions on TradeStation? You guys want to know how to do anything on it? Okay.
The TTM indicators work in there?
Import your indicators?
In the radar screen?
Yes, you can import the indicators into radar screen.
When you do a pivot retracement, is there a way to set the numbers?
Oh yeah, there is a way.
Because it's a pain sometimes.
I'm just going. This is just Google, okay? So let's take. Here's your fib retracements. Here's your fib extensions on retracement. So you're going to take it from here down to here, right? Are you talking about setting these numbers?
No, it's sometimes when the price bar is right near the top, it's hard to set the top line right on the top.
Snap mode.
Are you in snap mode? You could be. That'll drive you nuts. It's where the heck is that thing at? Where's snap mode at? What? Yeah. Make sure this is not checked. Let's see what it does. Is that right there what you're talking about it doing?
It's just that it sometimes.
Oh, scale your chart. Let me show you how to fix it real quick. Let me get it off here. Where was that at?
Do you have 8.1 or 8?
I've got 8.
8, I think.
Got 8?
What you want to do is if you've got that to where you can't see the top of it, just go right click, format symbol, scaling, and then go user defined. And if the top was like 306, just put something in there like 312 and then hit OK, and it'll give you more space up there. Okay? Anything else? That's it, guys.
Good.